As dawn breaks over a quiet barangay, golden sunlight gently awakens a humble nipa home. Beside an open Bible, a glowing lantern reminds this family that every new day begins with the faithfulness of God. Before anyone takes a single bite of breakfast, the father opens God's word with weathered hands. Together, the family bows in prayer, thanking the Lord for his daily provision and unfailing grace. Warm pandesal is shared from hand to hand as joyful smiles fill the little home. In life's simplest moments, grateful hearts discover that every blessing comes from the Lord. Outside, the mother quietly sweeps the bamboo porch while the cool morning breeze stirs the coconut leaves. As neighbors greet one another with kindness, peace fills the barangay like the first light of day. With his hoe resting on his shoulder, the father walks toward the emerald rice fields. Every determined step is an act of faith, trusting God to provide the harvest long before it can be seen. The eldest son rides a dusty jeepney to school, carrying more than books in his backpack. Before the day begins, he opens his pocket Bible, choosing to let God's word guide every step he takes. Children laugh beneath the shade of mango trees as basketballs bounce across the court and distant church bells ring through the morning air. These simple joys remind the community that every good gift comes from above. As the sun sets, the family gathers once again around the glowing lantern. Their voices rise together in worship, filling their modest home with songs of gratitude and hope. Far beyond the peaceful fields, dark clouds begin to gather over the mountains. The father pauses, sensing that a difficult season is approaching, yet quietly choosing to trust the God who never changes. The first drops of rain send vendors rushing to protect their goods, while families hurry home beneath the darkening sky. Though uncertainty fills the air, the coming storm is already known to the one who holds tomorrow. Back at home, the family works together to secure the windows with bamboo slats as thunder rolls across the valley. Though their hands tremble, their hearts remain anchored in the God who is their refuge and strength. Throughout the night, rain pounds relentlessly against the tin roof, while the lantern continues to glow beside the open Bible. As the children draw close to their parents, the steady light becomes a quiet reminder that God's presence remains through every storm. The father kneels beside the lantern and folds his hands in prayer. With calm faith, he softly says, "Mag-ampota," inviting his family to place their fears into the hands of the Lord. When morning arrives, swollen rivers surge through the barn carrying muddy waters across familiar paths. Neighbors watch anxiously from a narrow bamboo bridge, wondering what the rising flood will bring. Before the floodwaters reach the well, the mother calmly fills every pail she can. Even as fear grows around her, she chooses faith over panic, trusting that God will provide for every need. Families gather sacks of rice, treasured photographs, and the few belongings they can carry as they make their way to the Barangay Chapel. In the midst of uncertainty, the community finds shelter together and hope in God's care. Without hesitation, the father reaches into the rushing floodwaters to help an elderly neighbor cross safely. His steady hands become a living testimony of Christ's love, serving others even while facing danger himself. As floodwaters enter their home, furniture begins to drift away. Carefully lifting the glowing lantern above the rising water, the eldest son protects the light that has guided their family through every season. Inside the crowded evacuation shelter, volunteers quietly serve warm meals to weary families. Though possessions have been lost, kindness, compassion, and God's love are shared freely with everyone. As evening falls, the mother opens the family Bible beneath the lantern's gentle glow. One by one, exhausted families gather around, discovering that even in the darkest night, God's word continues to shine with hope. An elderly woman looks around the shelter with tear-filled eyes and softly whispers, "Nasi, Lord." In that quiet moment, weary hearts are reminded that the Lord has never abandoned his people. Outside, fierce winds continue to shake the chapel walls as rain pours without mercy. Inside, the family embraces one another tightly, finding courage not in their circumstances, but in the faithful God who holds them secure. At first light, the floodwaters slowly begin to recede. Broken fences, scattered belongings, and fields buried beneath thick mud reveal the cost of the storm. Yet, a new day also brings the promise of new mercies. The father walks silently through the ruined rice fields, holding a handful of soaked seedlings. The harvest he had prayed and worked for seems lost, but even in his sorrow, God is not finished writing the story. Without saying a word, the youngest daughter gently places the glowing lantern beside her father. Her quiet act of love becomes a powerful reminder that even the smallest light can strengthen a weary heart. Together, the family kneels in the muddy field beside the open Bible and the lantern. As sunlight breaks through the retreating clouds, they surrender their pain to God and place their hope once again in his unfailing promises. One by one, neighbors quietly join the family in prayer. Hats are removed, heads are bowed, and as birds return to the trees, a wounded community discovers that true strength is found in seeking the Lord together. Rising from prayer with renewed determination, the father closes his Bible and rolls up his sleeves. Faith now moves into action as he begins clearing the debris, trusting God one step at a time. Soon, young people from the church arrive carrying shovels, wheelbarrows, and bottles of water. Their willing hands and joyful hearts become living examples of Christ's love expressed through humble service. As families work side by side repairing broken roofs beneath the afternoon sun, tired faces slowly give way to hopeful smiles. Together, they discover that God often restores lives through the compassion and unity of his people. While volunteers continue rebuilding the barangay, the mother prepares a large pot of steaming arroz caldo over a wood fire. With every bowl she serves, she reminds weary hearts that even a simple meal becomes a blessing when offered with Christ-like love. Across the muddy pathways, children eagerly gather reusable pieces of lumber. Their small hands work with joyful determination, proving that no act of service is too small when it is done with a willing heart. Seeing a neighbor who has lost everything, even his shoes, the father quietly removes his only spare work boots and gives them away. His generosity reflects the words of Jesus. It is more blessed to give than to receive. As evening settles over the repaired home, the family gathers once again around the familiar lantern. Their voices rise in worship, celebrating God's faithfulness that carried them safely through the darkest storm. After school, the eldest son notices a discouraged classmate waiting alone at the tricycle stop. Instead of walking past, he gently places his pocket Bible into the young man's hands, sharing the greatest source of hope he knows. Holding the Bible close to his heart, the classmate whispers, "God is faithful." In that quiet confession, a seed of hope is planted, one that only God's word can nurture and make grow. Life slowly begins to return to normal as women gather beside the flowing river to wash muddy clothes. Between smiles, prayers, and words of encouragement, they strengthen one another with the love of Christ. Under the warmth of the morning sun, farmers kneel together to plant fresh rice seedlings. Though the previous harvest was lost, they sow once again with confident hope, trusting the Lord to bring the increase. The church youth organize a cleanup throughout the barangay, filling woven baskets with storm debris. Their laughter echoes through the streets, replacing painful memories with renewed joy and purpose. Beneath the broad shade of a great acacia tree, children gather eagerly to hear God's word. As the scriptures are read aloud, seeds of eternal truth are planted in young hearts that will bear fruit for generations to come. The father spends the day helping a widow rebuild her small sari-sari store. With every careful strike of the hammer, he demonstrates that genuine faith is revealed not only in words, but in serving those who are in need. As dusk settles over the barangay, the grateful widow lights the family's lantern once more. Its warm glow shines through the evening, reminding everyone that God's faithfulness continues to illuminate even the darkest seasons. Soon, families gather outdoors to share a humble meal of rice and fish. Around the table, food is passed from hand to hand. Laughter replaces sorrow, and grateful hearts rejoice in God's abundant goodness. When a young friend begins to cry, the youngest daughter quietly wraps her favorite blanket around her shoulders. In that gentle embrace, she reflects the compassion of Christ, showing that love is often expressed through simple acts of kindness. Sunday morning arrives, and voices rise together in joyful worship. As sunlight pours through the open church windows, grateful hearts unite in praise to the one who carried them through every trial. With tears of gratitude, the father stands before the congregation to thank God for his unfailing faithfulness. Beside him stands his family, holding the lantern that remained a symbol of hope throughout the flood. Old wounds begin to heal as neighbors once divided by disagreement exchange warm handshakes and heartfelt embraces. God's grace not only restored homes, it restored relationships and brought peace where there had once been conflict. When harvest season finally returns, golden rice fields sway beneath the gentle breeze. As grateful hands gather the first bundles, every sheaf becomes a testimony that the Lord faithfully provides in His perfect time. That evening, the family places the lantern beside the open Bible once again. This time, their children confidently read the scriptures aloud, revealing a legacy of faith that is being passed from one generation to the next. Night settles peacefully over the quiet barangay as the lantern shines warmly through the window of the humble home. Though storms may come and seasons may change, the light of Christ continues to guide those who place their trust in Him. His hope never fades, His promises never fail, and His faithfulness endures forever. The lantern that never went out, a city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Just as one lantern brought hope to a family in their barangay, every follower of Christ is called to shine His light through love, faith, kindness, and good works. In a world filled with fear and darkness, let your light point others to Jesus Christ, the true light who never goes out. May your light shine today so that others may see Christ in you and give glory to our Father in heaven.